Hey guys, how are you all? Welcome back to my channel. Today we will see what if Naruto has animal partner. If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments. Soon after Sumire was strong enough to travel with the help of Hiyashi, they went back to the Uzumaki compound that was located in the farthest, deepest part of the forest that was inside Konoha. Also, this was without a doubt the biggest one of the three clan compounds. Put together the Hyuga and a third of the Uchiha. But unlike those other compounds, this wasn't pavement and the houses were surrounded by tall trees and a lot of plants, in other words a great place for jungle cats. After reaching the middle of the compound, they went inside a building and started going down through the old stairs. After a good 20 minutes of walking those stairs, they reached their destination. A big, square room that had a place to put a baby in it, and in the pillar that hold the surface was the clan's crest. A circle with the head of a big cat with its head turned towards the right with his mouth open, like he was roaring, and his clawed paw slightly bent towards his face, and beneath the crest were etched in stone these words: "United we stand. All for one. One for all." "Okay, now Sumire, put your son in place," commanded her mother, then turned to Hiyashi. "Thanks for everything, but I must ask you to leave now. This is a clan affair." The Hyuga wanted nothing more than stay, but he nodded. After all, in his clan was also a tradition to keep the secrets from outsiders, not mattering who they were. As he was about to leave, Sumire's hand held him in place and said, "No, please stay. Arashi wanted you to be here for this. He told me a few days ago. But Sumire, you must understand, I don't care. My husband just died and that was his will, so please." At this, Tatsuki sighed. When Sumire was like this, there was no way to change her mind. "Fine, Hiyashi, would you stay? I'll be honored to do so." Then everybody took their positions, the animal partners in front of the crests that were etched in the floor. But unlike the crest in the middle where Naruto was, these crests were different. The one representing the lions, the head had a mane. The one for the tigers had stripes, and so on for the jaguars, cheetahs, cougars, panthers, leopards. As each animal partner was taking its place in front of every crest, the carving started to glow. Soon every crest was glowing except for one. The one belonging to the liger branch. In the days of the first Shinobi War, when the members of this branch still existed, they were one, if not the most powerful branch the clan had. After their partners took their places, the human branch leaders took their places behind them, and behind the leaders there was a member of the assigned branch house holding a baby kitten of each branch. Then Tatsuki, as the mother of Sumire, spoke. "We are gathered here to identify this baby as a member of the clan, and as it's rightfully his to make the bonding with a partner as it has been done with many others in the past. Let the ritual begin." And after these words, a line of blue chakra traveled from each crest towards the main crest. Again Tatsuki spoke. "I, Uzumaki Tatsuki, head of the lion branch, wish to see if he is part of the lions," and begun making seals. When she stopped, a dim blue light surrounded Kyokudai. Then the light went to the crest in the floor and traveled to the one in the pillar. Then the main crest suddenly began to glow, and after a few seconds the glow disappeared. And the lion shook his head sideways while the blue line connecting both crests disappeared. At this, Tatsuki looked disappointed. She really wanted her grandson to be part of the lion. Nevertheless, she said the last part. "Even if he's not a lion, he's still family and he'll be taken care of. All for one, one for all." Then Kyo, the head of the cougar branch, repeated a similar speech. "I, Uzumaki Kyo, head of the cougar branch, wish to see if he is part of the cougars, and make the same seals that Tatsuki made." Then a dim blue light surrounded his partner. A clear blue-colored female cougar named Rukia shook her head as the line connecting the cougar crest with the main crest disappeared. "And even if he is not a cougar, he's still family and he'll be taken care of. All for one, one for all." And so one by one the branch leaders, first the leader of the jaguars Setsu and his companion Myun, a earth brown colored jaguar. Then the cheetahs led by Riku, a hyperactive blonde, and his companion, a bright yellow cheetah named Chisoku, speed. Followed by Tenchi, the leader of the panthers, and his companion, a pitch black panther named Yami, darkness. Then come the stoic leader of the leopards, Zanten, followed by his companion, a yellow leopard with red spots named Gozentaru, proud. Finally there was only the leader of the tigers, an old man named Iroh, and his tiger named Sesu, honor. He spoke up. "Before we start the ritual, I have an announcement. After this, I'm stepping down my branch leader position and I'll be making Sumire my successor." This caused some comments among the present, but the old man silenced them with his hand. "Sorry, but it's my call. I'm not getting any younger and I'm tired. Also, it's time that someone else deal with the runts. I told you Sumire so many years ago and I will repeat it. I hope your son is as bad behaved as you were. Now let's get this done," he said, ignoring the murdering glare coming from his successor. Uzumaki Iroh, head of the tiger branch, wished to see if he is part of the tigers, and repeated the same procedure as the ones before him but with different results. The blue light in the crest shined brightly for an instant, then a blue pulse made of chakra went to the main crest. Both crests started shining more and more, then both shot a blinding flash and glowed in bright blue. The boy is part of the tigers. May he be a proud and powerful member of the branch. And started making seals at blinding speed. Stopping on tiger, he shouted, "Raiko, enter." Then the main crest turned an exact copy of the tiger crest and a blue light surrounded Naruto. Then Iroh signaled the member that was carrying the kitten. He complied and put the baby tiger in Naruto's right side. Then Iroh turned back to Sumire and Rui. "Both kid and tiger are your sons. It's only fair that you decide the name of it. It's Rui's call, after all it is her son." The tiger looked at her partner. Even if she hid it, it was obvious that she was sad. "Rui, are you sure?" The tiger just nodded. "Thank you." Then she turned her sight on the old man. "Senku. His name will be Senku, Flash," she said, in the verge of tears remembering her husband's nickname. "Are you sure?" "Okay then. I accepted Naruto, son of Sumire of the tiger, and Senku, son of Rui the tigress, as part of the branch." Then he made more seals and finished again in tiger and said, "Seiken, bond." Then the whole room shined bright and blinded for a couple of seconds before dying. "Welcome Uzumaki, Naruto and Senku to the tiger branch." And with that every animal partner roared in joy to celebrate the successful bonding. The roar could be heard in all Konoha. In the Hokage tower, the Sandaime was watching the sky when he heard the roar. He just smiled and said to no one in particular, "So it's over." Hiyashi was stunned. He was witnessing one of the most guarded secrets of the Uzumaki clan, and the next thing he knew after the last flash is that everything was over, and was congratulating the proud mother. Then Riku, being a 16-year-old curious girl she is, went to look at the baby, and what she saw really surprised her. "Holy shit. Sumire, you have to see this. What's wrong with Naruto? It's. Tell me already." Then Zanten spoke up in a calm and stoic tone. "Your boy have whiskers." At this comment everybody rushed to see the baby, and true enough, he had whiskers. It was common that the kids in the clan had whiskers. It was, after all, the first genetic trait they had. The whiskers disappear as the people grow up and gain their new eye color. What was weird, it was the fact that he shouldn't obtain the whiskers until he was 4. Okay, that was unexpected, but we'll worry about that later. Right now all of us need to rest. The next day, the funeral for Arashi was held in a dark, cloudy day, as even if the heaven was moaning the loss of a great man. Everybody in the village went to the service to pay their respect and grief for the loss, because in some level or the other they knew Arashi. To some he was an inspiration, someone to strive for, to others an acquaintance, and to others a friend. Everybody lost something when he died, but closer to his coffin they were who lose most. Hyuga Hiyashi, who lost his best friend, the very same friend who pulled him out of his destiny is set stuff, and in some level his stiffness. He also lost the only shot he had of freeing the branch family from the caged bird seal. He knew his nephew will have to endure that seal, so that day to him not only died a teammate and a friend, but it also died the hope for something better for the clan, because he knew the council will not give him the releasing scroll. The Ino Shikacho trio lost someone they respected greatly. They were more than acquaintances, pals, drinking buddies, but mostly they were friends. And now to them they lost more than just someone they laughed their asses off in the bar they go. But the ones who lose the most were his wife and son. Sumire lost the love of his life the very same day that was supposed to be one of the happiest for both of them, and he left a fatherless son who in the future would really need him. As people started leaving white flowers and then left, soon only relatives and friends were left in the place while started raining. "Now let's go for a drink," said Inoishi. Shikato muttered troublesome, but he complied nonetheless, while Chomaru was bursting in tears but nodded and followed his friends. After everybody left except for the widow and her partner, her son and his new companion Senku, and the old man. Then Sumire spoke up, "Hokage-sama, I wish to renounce from Anbu." "I understand, but what are you going to do? Go back to Junin in a couple of years? Will you take a team?" "I really don't know. Granted, your status is officially on hold now. Thanks. Now if you excuse me I must leave." The Hokage looked at her with a sad look. The Sumire he always knew was strong and determined, yet gentle and caring. The woman in front of him was only a shadow of her former self. He just hoped she will get out of this for the sake of her son. The next morning all the branch heads reunited in the central building of the compound. The subject: the situation of the clan. Zanten started the meeting. Now that we are all here, it's time to start. Now first things first, the numbers of all the branches have been seriously reduced to 25 in each branch, and there is also the situation about what to do with Naruto's and Shinta's training. Riku spoke. What do you mean by that? There is something wrong. No Riku, but we'll discuss that later, replied Tenchi. Now back to the business. I think only the most experienced members of the clan take missions above B rank. Also it's necessary to find out if any of the kids in any branch have potential to become veterinaries or medic nins. Don't you think that's a bit extreme? I mean, there's still a good number of Chunin and a few Junin level shinobis in every branch, said Kyo. I'm aware of that, but right now we are in a really weakened state, and if we want to recover we're going to need to improve and upgrade the training regimen. Not much, but enough to make the kids get stronger at a faster rate. Now anyone against it? No one answered. Okay, then it's decided. Now for the next order of business, it's Naruto's and Shinta's training. Now to answer your question, Riku, in order to keep good relationships with other clans, when a child is accepted as part of the Uzumaki clan and one of his parents is from other clan, the child will have training that involves both clans' ways of training, and as such is part of the tradition that we also help that clan, making the child strong in aspects like speed or chakra capacity in order to make him achieve the level to use the skills of both clans. Now do you understand? Asked Tenchi. Riku nodded. Good. Now in Shinta's case he has the Haiden bloodline. Didn't see that one coming, did you? So I think he will need to learn extensive chakra control along with Suiden and Fuuten. Also we have to monitor his partner elemental change in a few years. Explained later. Now in Naruto's case, I really don't know that much about the Kazama bloodline, so I guess you should tell us what to do with your son Sumair. The mentioned looked meditative for a second before answering. Arashi told me that his clan's bloodline was all about blinding speed and Raiden. Even his style of fighting uses his speed. This is a good thing because it can be mixed with our style of taijutsu. But this will mean he will go through speed and stamina training. Also he will need extensive chakra control exercises, and obviously Raiden. There is the need to see if he's proficient with other elements thanks to the Kyuubi. The rest of the things about the Kazama and their ability to seal are in the Hokage Tower. Just like my other story, a non-Kazama needs a special scroll to seal something in it. Don't you worry, Zhu, leave speed training to me, said the ever-enthusiastic Riku. I can take care of tracking and stamina, said Kyo. I teach him stealth, continued Tenchi. I'll teach him how to ambush and setting traps, said the ever-stoic Zanten. Setsu shrugged. The reason was that he wasn't much what he could teach the kid. I guess I can teach him some Raiden. Even Doten if he shows some skill with it. Sumair just couldn't be happier. It was obvious now more than ever that her husband's legacy will endure as well as his memory. Now that everything is done, we should dismiss the meeting. You go and see your son Sumair, said Iroh, who was there as Sumair's counselor. Time skip. A 3-year-old Naruto was playing with his animal companion while he was watched by his mother and her partner. The kid was happy, without a care in the world, completely oblivious that the night before a shinobi tried to kill him. What the assassin didn't take count is that he was in a place full of big cats. Needless to say, the bastard died painfully. Sumair was relieved after his son was safe and the idiot got what he rightfully deserved. The only record of him being there was a stain, and it doesn't surprise her. After all, their partners must eat, didn't they? But she knew that they will only eat the intruders or someone trying to harm a member of the clan. But she was also concerned by the fact that this was the 3rd attempt this month. After the Hokage told the people only a handful accepted him, the rest, being as narrow-minded as they are, simply wanted her son dead. In that moment Sumair thought that the old man gave people too much credit. So it happened again. We must do something, asked Setsu, making the mother jump. She thought she was out of shape, because Setsu never sneaked on her before. Don't do that. And yes, at the 3rd time this month. Seriously, the Hokage needs to think these things before acting. And they watched Naruto play in silence. And tell me when his training begins. In a week, and is not a minute too soon if you ask me. Worried, of course. The faster he becomes stronger, the less I have to worry about him. But I still want him to stay where he can be safe. You know that's not possible. He resembles you and his father greatly. At this, Sumair sighed and looked at her son with a resigned look in her eyes. I know, and that's gonna be a problem when he finds out how to use chakra. At this Setsu smirked and looked towards the 3-year-old that was climbing a really tall tree. Well, pay attention because it's already starting. And pointed his finger towards her son. At this Sumire ran to him, get him down of the tree and started scolding him. I told her that her son was going to be worse than her, said an amused Iroh who just got there to see Naruto started climbing the tree. Time skip. A now 4-year-old Naruto was playing with a very young and not so shy Hinata and with still tiny Senku while being watched by their parents. Damn it, stupid weights, claimed an angry Naruto. Since his training began he had been using wrist and ankle bands in order to make him stronger and faster. Right now he's wearing a total 10 kilos. At this comment Hinata asked, "Why are you using them, Naruto-kun? If they are so heavy, because it's part of my training, and if I remove them Riku-chan will get mad. She can be really scary when she gets mad." This make Hinata giggle. By the way Hinata, how is training going? At this the girl looked rather sad. At this the blonde apologized but the girl answered, "No, it's okay Naruto-kun. It's not going well. Father says I need to get faster." Naruto pondered in his thoughts about the subject. Then grinned. "Wait here Hinata, I'll be right back," and went inside the house. After a few minutes he came back carrying similar wrist and ankle bands and handed them to Hinata. "Here, take this, they're going to help you become faster. These were the ones Naruto used a couple of months ago." "Naruto-kun, are you sure? I don't know if father will approve." "Yes, he will. After all, he wants you to be faster, doesn't he? Besides, if there's a problem I'll help you." At this comment Hinata smiled and put the bands on. "Great, but there is another thing, you're it," he said, and after touching her both he and Senku ran in opposite directions. At this Hinata gave them her version of a glare. That was mostly a semi-angry look, before start chasing both. At the same time their kids were playing. Sumire and Hiyashi were talking. "How's your wife Hiyashi? Pregnant? Even after all that's happened you're still such a stiff. But tell me what's going to happen to your nephew?" At this the Hyuga looked sad. As sad as he can look anyway. Before answering, "The only thing I was able to make is that the seal ceremony is delayed a couple of years but the council is adamant about the subject." Bastards, correct. It's time to change that old and obsolete tradition. At this comment Sumire smirked and answered back. "That comes from the same person that used to think that everything was set and there was no escape to someone's destiny. Well, staying around Arashi tends to change your point of view." Yes, he had that effect on people. Changing the subject. "Uchiha Fugoku is demanding Naruto's execution." At this comment Sumire's eyes became slits. Oh, how she hated that man. When they were young he tried claim Sumire for himself without thinking of what she wanted. Just because he was an Uchiha he thought he was entitled to her. And it seems that he wasn't letting go. That bastard. Even after all these years he still tries to find a way to remove what Arashi have done. "Don't worry Sumire, nothing will happen to him if I have a word in the subject." "Thanks Hiyashi. By the way, you should leave Hinata keep the weights, it should help her in more than one way." Time skip. A now 6-year-old Naruto was sitting next to his uncle Shin watching his cousin Shinta play with his partner, a snow-white tiger named Nadare, Avalanche. Then something struck Naruto and he decided to ask his uncle, Shin-san, why Nadare and Senku have different colors. At this Shin smiled and proceeded to explain, "Well, you see Naruto-kun, the identification and bonding ritual does more than tell us what partner we have and in which branch we go. It bonds us with our partners in a deeper level. That's why every member of the clan have heightened senses and reflexes. Our partners gain longer lives and greater stamina. Also, if the human they are partnered with is a master in one element or it has an elemental bloodline of some sort, the partner is affected as well. Just look at your grandmother. So in this case, due to Shinta's bloodline, Nadare is that color." After this Naruto meditated a few seconds and said, "So if I want to make Senku have a cool color I need to be able to use Hyaden. Tell me Shin-san, can Hyaden be mastered without a bloodline?" "Yes. But it's very difficult." "Then I decided I'll master Hyaden." "Naruto, is not that easy." "I know that, but I'm determined to do it." "Su, what do I need?" "Mostly you need to control the nature of your chakra, along with mastery over Futon and Suiten. Then I'll do it." At this Shin couldn't help but laugh at his nephew's silliness. Even tough, he knew if he really was determined he would do it. "Fine. If that's what you want I'll help you." "Hell yeah." "Uzumaki Naruto," yelled his mother, enraged at the sight of her son using such bad words. "I can't believe you. Whotaughthu that. I didn't raised you like this, so tell me who." While Naruto was being scolded, Shin decided to make his retreat. "Don't move Shin, I'll be with you in a second." In that moment Shin knew he was doomed to feel his sister's wrath. Time skip. Naruto, now at 7 years old, was getting ready for his first day at the academy. He wore a pair of black semi-baggy pants, black shinobi sandals, a red t-shirt and a dark blue electric jacket that reached only to his waist. The jacket had 3 crests in it, on the back the Kazama spiral, on his left bicep the standard Uzumaki crest, and in the right bicep the crest for the tiger branch. He looked himself in the mirror in his room and made a half frown. He wanted to go to the school in his favorite clothes, his orange jumpsuit, but his mother threatened him to burn it and leave him without ramen for a whole month if he ever took a step outside the compound with that thing. So he just gave in. After he strapped his kunai and weapon pouch, he went downstairs to the kitchen to have breakfast. While eating, his mother decided to speak her mind. Naruto was returning from the academy. A week has passed since he begun to attend, and it has been boring and weird to say the least. First he find out that most of the teachers hated him like the rest of the town, but thankfully he was put in a class with was probably the only teacher that seemed to see him as a human, Amino Iruka. That and the fact that he was in the same class with Hinata was the highlights of the first day. After that everything went to hell. First his childhood friend Ino decided that she didn't like him around her and became a really mean person towards him, but oddly enough not towards his partner. But Senku, being such good friend of Naruto, decided to stay clear of the blonde female. Of course this caused that Ino blamed Naruto, so the rest of the week she spent it glaring at him and yelling him that how is possible that he was so selfish that he didn't let poor Senku be with her, completely sure and unaware that it was the tiger's decision in the first place. And when he tried to explain it to her, only caused to infuriate the blonde more. Next there was his friends Shikamaru and Choji. He knew both of them since he could remember, thanks to the fact that he needed to go trough training from such an early age. They became more like acquaintances. Hopefully they won't be like the villagers. Following was Shino, who just creep him out not because of his bugs, no, because Naruto understood that they were Shino's partners. It was because the guy barely said a word. And don't let him get started on Sakura, who was in many ways like the rest of the villagers and in other ways a lot like Ino, in the fact that she wanted to pet his partner and squeeze it like some plushie, not caring if the tiger is interested, and again with the same results as Ino. And finally he was put with the 2 persons he never wanted to be with, Inuzuka Kiba and Uchiha Sasuke. With the first he doesn't know what the hell was wrong with him, he just insults him, glare at him or even growls at him. And his dog partner is no better. Naruto just don't know what did he do to deserve such hate. He had only seen the boy 3 times in his whole life. The second is no better, just different. He saw him as if dirt was better than him, and to some degree he understands it. After all, his family was murdered not too long ago, but still that kid just rubs him in the wrong way. Basically his week has been nothing but boring lectures, scolding from all the teachers, glares, nearly impossible questions, and if it hasn't been for Hinata, loneliness. The good thing is that her mother promised him to teach him a basic clan jutsu at the end of the week. After arriving the compound, the blonde go with his mother to learn the jutsu. Alright, come here Naruto, this is one, if not the most basic jutsu for any member of the clan, and is one of the few things we share with the Inuzukas. After saying that, Sumair did a tiger seal and said the name of the jutsu. Shikyaku no jutsu, quadruped technique. After her nails got larger, her teeth elongated, and she got down on all 4s in the floor like an animal. To Naruto this was a great thing, not only because the jutsu but the fact that he got to spend time with his mother. Lately he haven't seen much of her due to the fact that she returned to being a Junin. She's training a Genin team, and on top of that she's the branch head. Now Naruto, you must be careful when you use these jutsu, because while using it will be difficult to make hand seals, but you will gain a strength and speed boost. Is that clear? The blonde just nodded. After practicing the jutsu a couple of times until he felt comfortable with it, then remembering his week in the school, decided to ask his mother something. Mom. Yes dear. In my class there is a kid who just hate for no reason. What did you do to him? Nothing mom, he just glare and growls at me. At this comment Sumair caught a special interest, and even if she was pretty sure who was the kid, she decided to not take any chances. Tell Naruto this boy had a dog with him. Yes mom. So the story repeats itself again. I seriously thought Sume knew to put things in perspective. Then she gave her son a small smile and said, the problem Naruto is not with you, is with the fact that you're a Uzumaki and he's a Inuzuka. Why? Because practically from the foundation of the village it's been like that. Nobody really remembers the reason for it. Some say is for the way each clan bonds with their partners. At this point nobody knows or cares anymore. But son, if that kid ever bothers you again, just ignore it, let it go, because it not either you or that kid's fault. But that's just stupid. And why is that? Because we are hating each other for something that happened in the past and we don't even remember. We should all get along. We're Konoha shinobi after all. At this, Sumire looked surprised. His 7-year-old son was being in an infantile way, more mature and level-headed than most of the adults of both clans. After a second she gave him a smile and said, "Yeah, it's stupid, but what are you going to do about it? When I'm the Hokage I'll change that. Besides, I'm sure I can kick his ass." "I'm sure you can, but what good will that do? ERGH. Show him who's the best." At this, Sumire give him a smile and a small laugh. One moment he's wise and the other is naive. "Seriously, he's your son Arashi. I'm sure you will, Naru-chan." Saying the last part in an obviously teasing manner and succeeding, "Mom. Stop calling me that. I'm not a baby." "Okay, Naru-chan." "Mom. Stop it." Alright, I'll stop, Naru-chan." "Mom." She started laughing. Sometimes it was just too easy to mess with him. On a completely different location, Kiba and his mother were training in the exact same jutsu. The next week in school was supposed to be pretty uneventful, or it would have been if Kiba weren't trying to make Naruto fight. Apparently his mother told him that his clan were nothing but a bunch of losers that didn't deserve to be a ninja. That everybody in that clan are a bunch of backstabbing traitors. And that they hated dogs. By the end of the talk, Kiba despised every last of the Uzumaki. And right now the Inuzuka was trying to make him fight so he can prove he was better. That and the fact that he wasn't comfortable with Naruto's closeness to Hinata. "Come on, loser. Get lost." "Hell no, now be a man and fight me." "Or what?" said the blonde, clearly annoyed. Kiba was getting on his nerves and the yelling was attracting audience. "Or I'll make you looser." And with that he launched a punch with his left hand aimed to his head. Naruto moved slightly to his left and caught it with his right hand by the wrist and sweeping his foot with his right leg and pushing him with other arm towards the floor. Kiba found himself kissing the floor with an annoyed blonde on top of him. "Drop it, Kiba, I mean it." And twisted a little more his arm to make his point. After watching him nod, Naruto released him and went to sit down next to Hinata. Kiba, frustrated, started to yell to him, "Yeah, that's right, go away, coward. Loser. You're unable to finish what you started. My mother was right about you and your kind. You're nothing more than worthless failures, each and every one of you, so get out. You don't even deserve to be a shinobi. Maybe that's the reason you don't have a father. Maybe he left you and your mother because he was just another coward and a failure just like you." At this comment the blonde raised of his seat, trembling, clearly suppressing the rage that was running through his body. He really wanted to make the mud eat those words. Of course, Kiba, being Kiba, took this as a sign of fear. Unaware that even his dog noticed the unavoidable outcome from the last comment. But before anything happened, Iruka came and said that today we're going to spar. Reaching the training area, Iruka broke everyone into groups. Unlike normal spars, there were 3 in every group. Watching his partners for the spar, Naruto couldn't help but let out a rather Anko-ish smile. There, standing next to him, was Kiba. And next to the boy was a girl he really didn't like, Haruno Sakura. She had been on his last nerve since the beginning of their time in the academy, and the drop that spilled the glass was that she actually said, "Idiots like you shouldn't even be allowed in the class. I don't know how someone like you could get in the academy or get something like Senku," finishing with a really hurtful comment about the fact that he didn't have a father. This was especially hurtful because he really didn't know who his father was. By the time Sakura figured out, it was too late to apologize. The damage was done, and even Senku had a grudge towards her, because with people like Ino he was grateful sometimes for the attention. Others only tolerant to them, but after the incident he just growls, roars, bares fangs, and even launched the occasional warning swipe towards her. In short, both of Naruto's practice dummies. Partners were in deep trouble. Alright, first Naruto versus Kiba, start. Not a second after Iruka said those words, Naruto rushed towards his opponent, determined to harm him as much as humanly possible for a 7-year-old, and launched a right hook towards the right side of Kiba's face. The mentioned managed to barely dodge the punch, but he was unable to avoid the backhand strike that the blonde launched with the same hand just after finishing the first punch, making Kiba's head jerk to the right. Then Naruto launched a reverse high kick with his left foot, connecting his left heel with his opponent's right cheek, sending him flying for a couple of meters. Sakura was terrified watching his classmate wipe the floor with Kiba, and after send him flying he directed his gaze towards her. Her green eyes met the sapphire of his, but instead of finding the calming warmth that everybody he liked found comforting, she met a pair of cold blue steel eyes that was fixed on her with a glare that was clearly saying, you're next." After hitting the floor and whipping the blood of his mouth, Kiba launched himself, attempting to take him while he was busy glaring at Sakura. He threw a punch with his right fist followed by another punch with his left. Naruto took the first in his face and stumbled backwards a little but managed to regain control in time to catch the second with his right hand by the wrist. Spinning himself, the delivered with his left elbow 2 strikes to Kiba's chest and launched a hard kick to his stomach followed by a kick with his other foot to his face. Kiba managed to block only the last and took some distance between them, panting heavily both from tiredness and pain, because Naruto subconsciously have been powering up his punches and kicks with chakra and doing exactly what his mother told him not to: draw attention to himself. Hinata was sparring with Ino when both made an unspoken agreement to watch Naruto's fight. To the Hyuga heiress, watch his friend and newfound crush fight so fiercely was scary to her. Even if he still had the same blue eyes that always mesmerized and make her feel safe, they were now irradiating so much anger that the kid that give her his weights to train and become stronger, which she keeps under her bed as her treasure, and is always trying to cheer her up and gave her confidence and his friendship just for being her, seems so far off. Naruto is not using Kyuubi's chakra. To Ino was another thing, she just wished she'll be able to at least apologize to the boy before he pisses him too much. But others not only watched with some fear in their eyes, others like Uchiha Sasuke were incredibly angry. He was after all supposed to be the best, yet this kid seemed to be stronger than him, and for the way he was fighting Kiba he obviously was stronger than him. But the Uchiha won't let that stay like that for too long. He had to be the strongest if he wanted to kill him. To the rest of the spectators was obvious something. They really didn't know the blonde and that he was always holding back before. All came to this conclusion. Whether they were classmates, teachers, friends, enemies or just curious watchers, something was clear. They will have to start taking this more seriously. Iruka seen that everyone stopped and was looking at the now rapidly escalating spar and transforming into an all-out war. Again, as much damage as a pair of 7-year-olds can do. Decided to stop the spar the moment they started using their clan jutsus. An hour later, both kids and their respective mothers were in the teacher's office discussing the reason why Naruto exploded and gave Kiba a beating. "He started it. If you weren't such a coward we wouldn't be on this situation," Kiba answered back, actually believing what he was saying. "You idiot, if you could keep your shut we wouldn't be in this problem." Watching the boys argue, both mothers had different reactions. Sumire just sighed. All it took his son was a week. Sume was staring at hers while her left eye twitching slightly while a vein was throbbing in her forehead. Finally she snapped, "Shut up both of you. Kiba, I usually don't care if you fight, but I care when you get in trouble, and you?" she said, looking at the blonde. "What could be so bad to end up in a fight like that one?" "She's right, Naruto, I told you to just let it go, whatever he did it can't be that bad." Then the blonde explained what his opponent did, going trough the taunting to his first attempts to strike him in order to make him fight to the things he said. Then he said everybody in my clan were worthless failures. Then he said that's the reason I don't have a father. He said that he was a worthless failure. The last comment shocked both mothers for different reasons. To Sumire this was unbelievable. Her husband sacrificed too much, his life, his future and even his son to save this village, and she was pissed and hurt. Especially towards Sume. After all, it was thanks to him that her husband and herself survived the war. But she was mostly hurt because she thought that even with their rivalry Sume knew better to disrespect the memory of Arashi and the ones that died that day in that battlefield. Sume was shocked as well as angry to her son's actions towards the deceased Hokage. Granted, to his defense he really didn't know who Naruto's father was, but still he should have known better than to mess with those memories. Sumire just stared at the floor, angry with her bangs hiding her eyes, and the emotions they held spoke to Sume without looking at her. "Sume, I understand if you don't like me, believe me, it's mutual. I can understand that you told all those lies to your son and managed just to spawn another generation of hatred. Even if I thought you were better, I've tried to stop that cycle, but doesn't matter. No. I thought you were better than this. I really thought you wouldn't go as far as disrespect his memory just because he was my husband and his father. I thought you knew better than to taunt your son to stain the memory of the people that have fallen that day, especially his," said while trembling in a cold, barely restrained fury while silent tears rolled down from her concealed eyes. Naruto, for lack of a better word, was shocked to see his mother cry. He only see her cry once when he was 5 and returned beat up to the compound from a walk. Every time after that the only thing she ever showed was a sad look every time he asked who his father was or got to the verge of tears when he came beat it up, but she never shed a single tear after that. Sume was taken back from those words. She knew that even if she didn't actually told his son to say those words, it was, in some level, still her fault, and it was something she will correct. Kiba, seeing the reaction, was about to say something when his mother's hand in his shoulder and her glare told him not to. After a couple of seconds, Sume said in a serious tone, "This won't go unpunished, Sumire. Don't worry about it. You have my word." "I know, Sume, and I thank you for that." The young Inuzuka just couldn't believe what he was hearing. There he was listening that he will be punished just for disrespecting the memory of some guy who was still, at least in his mind, a failure, so he decided to try and get himself out of the mess. "But Mom, why do I have to?" "Shut up, Kiba, you did enough already." "Alright, come on Naruto, let's go home." Sometime later that day in the Uzumaki compound, a lonely figure was practicing. No more like destroying the sparring logs in the training area, trying to vent out some of the anger and despair he was feeling. He was so focused in the task that he didn't notice that it was pouring or that he was starting to hurt his hands. He was just trying to relieve all the feelings he was having right now. He was feeling angry towards Kiba for his words, feeling frustrated for his inability to control himself, and frustrated to no end for his inability to help his mother, so he was doing the only thing he could. He was so focused that he didn't notice him standing behind him a few steps away until he spoke. "You should stop, Naruto, and come inside before you catch a cold." Without turning back he spoke back, "What do you want, old man?" From this point on the Hokage will be known as Oji-san and Iroh will be known as old man. "I already said it." "Then leave me alone, will ya?" Naruto was not in the mood for lectures. "You should come inside and have some tea, calm down and wait until the rain stops. Training is better if you're calm, you know." "I don't need any tea. What I need is that you leave me alone." "Then I hope you don't mind if an old man stays here to keep you company." "Suit yourself." After a couple of minutes in silence the old man spoke up, "You have to stop that." "What are you talking about?" But the blonde knew what he meant, and it never ceased to amaze him how an old man that always looked so carefree and easygoing can be full of wisdom and seemed to read him like a book. "You need to stop blaming yourself. This wasn't your fault, as it's not your fault the treatment of the villagers. You should remember that there are things that cannot be controlled or justified. There are things that you can't do. After all, you're just 7 years old." At this comment the blonde stopped hitting the log and answered back without turning, "Then what am I supposed to do? They must have a reason to hate me. What good could I be if I can't stop them from hurting those who are precious to me? Again, you're 7 and your mother or us don't need to be protected, but you're right, fighting for someone makes you strong, stronger than you could ever think. But that's besides the point. The idea is that if you keep those feelings inside you they'll end up consuming you. And I doubt any of your parents wants that for you." Naruto, more calm now, went to the old man and thanked him. After all, he did manage to ease his insecurities, and then both went back to the house. In the house of the Inuzukas, Kiba was receiving his punishment. Right now he was in the floor courtesy of his mother's right hook. The idea for these scene, I got it from the anime. "Hey, what was that for?" yelled the kid from the floor while whipping the blood of his mouth. "For disrespecting the memory of the fallen ones." He was about to retort, but the glare of his mother and the crackle of her knuckles persuaded him. "You should know better, Kiba, than to stain the memories of the one that died that day. Tell me, how would you feel if Naruto disrespected your father's memory? Tell me, what will you do in his place?" This comment shocked Kiba to his very essence, because now he realized what he was doing and he really didn't want to be exposed to that. Seeing that her son was troubled, Sume sighed. She just wanted to make a point, not give her son a reason to brood, so she said his final comment, "Look, I'm not saying that you have to like the brat or anything like that. I'm saying that there are things that are best left unmentioned. Basically, think a little before speak. Now go with your sister to get that treated," she said, pointing at her son's bleeding lip. Kiba, wanting to know why he was punched in the face, decided to ask his mother an obvious question. "Hey mom, tell, who was his father? Is he really that important or powerful?" "You don't need to know who he was, it's a secret, but yes, he was a powerful shinobi and he was one who sacrificed the most in that battle." After that incident the rest of his school life was pretty much passive. After that the subject was never touched again, but that didn't stop Kiba or Naruto to fight with each other whenever they had the chance to do so, pulling every time new techniques. First Naruto defeated him with an Inuzuka technique, the Suga, much to his mother's shock and amusement. The next time Kiba surprised him with a branch jutsu from Naruto's clan. the Torasume no Jutsu, tiger claw technique, which made chakra claws in his fingers. The match was called a draw mostly because Kiba didn't realize how much chakra that technique used, which was a lot for a 9-year-old kid. That and an encounter with Hinata's cousin Neji were the worst memories of his school life. Hinata on the other hand didn't had a good school life. First her mother died, and when her sister Hanabi was old enough to be trained her father, pressured by the council. The fact that Hinata was the living image of his dead wife that was so painful to see her in the eyes, and that she was unable to defeat Hanabi because again to her resemblance to her mother that Hinata couldn't bring herself to strike down her sister. As consequence she was labeled as weak and unable to be the heiress. Hiyashi being raised as a normal Hyuga did what he thought was the only way to help her become strong. He challenged her, stroked her pride trying to make her prove him the contrary. Just like his father did many years ago with him and his brother. Of course Hiyashi forgot the detail that his daughter had a low self-esteem thanks to the rest of the clan. So the plan backfired. The only thing that kept her going with some shred of confidence was Naruto, who gave her his friendship, his blind confidence, but mostly an unknown to him, his determination and an example to follow. So while their friendship grew to Hinata, another feeling was growing inside of her. It was beyond friendship, beyond a simple crush. It was love for her best friend. But she didn't know if the object of her feelings felt the same, and that scared her. Thanks to that she became more withdrawn and more shy. To Naruto was a similar story. He was starting to see his best friend in a different light. He was thinking it was maybe a crush, but he wasn't sure. So the day of the exam finally came. Naruto, thanks to his mother, was no longer a midget. Now he was as tall as Sasuke. That day was a sunny, clear day, in Naruto's opinion perfect to become a genin and start his journey towards the Hokage title. So after taking his breakfast he went to the academy. In the classroom, the buzz of excitement and anticipation seemed to fill every nook and cranny of the class. The door to the room in the back, which was usually held for private lessons or detentions, was now opened, and everyone could see a table that had shiny new headbands glistening in the sun's light. "Alright," said Iruka, instantly gaining the attention of his class, "today is the genin exam. You will be asked to perform several basic techniques that we went over these couple of years. Also a written test will be required of you. This test will not influence your completion of this exam, but it will be a factor, so please take it seriously." The written test was pretty much a nap for Naruto, and Shikamaru both only answered half the test before falling asleep. Shikamaru saying that these tests were too troublesome, and Naruto saying that he was better at practical things. Next was the practical test, which in normal circumstances would be a problem to the blonde, but he came ready. So Iruka announced, "This year's exam will consist of the Bunshin, clone, and Kawarimi, substitution, jutsus. When I call you name, come and enter the room." And every kid started entering the room, leaving with a headband and a happy face or a disappointed face soon enough. Then it was Naruto's turn, and instead of making 3 bunchins he filled the room with clones, earning a gasp from Iruka and Mizuki. After receiving a band he left the classroom. When he was leaving the academy he saw the other parents congratulate their sons and daughters, but no one was there to pick him or congratulate him because everybody he knew or cared about was busy or in a mission. When the rest of the parents saw that he actually passed, started glaring at him and whispering, "I can't believe they actually let him graduate. Yeah, he should have been killed years ago. Hey, isn't that the... Don't say it, you know it's forbidden." These comments make a dent in Naruto's good mood, so instead of going home happy, he went to where he could be alone. Unknown to him, a figure he trusted was waiting to make his move. If he did this right, he'll got what he wanted and he will kill the demon. He will kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm skipping to the part when Iruka found Naruto with the scroll and Mizuki tells him why everybody hates him. The only difference with the original scene is that Naruto loses his headband that ends cut in half on the grass before he ran off with the scroll. After hearing the reason of why everybody hates him he couldn't take it anymore, and he and Senku ran with the scroll followed by Mizuki. Now the blonde was running through the treetops when Iruka appeared behind shouting, "Naruto, give the scroll, hurry, there isn't much time." The blonde answered, turning around and punching him in the face, sending him to the floor along with him. "Why did you do that, Naruto?" "Because you're not Iruka." Then the fake Iruka smirked and transformed back into Mizuki. "So how did you find out?" "Because I'm Iruka," said the blonde before transforming back to his Chunin form. "Why do you defend it, Iruka? Don't you hate the demon that killed your parents? Don't you hate that fox?" "I do hate the fox. It has been nothing but a disgrace and a plague to this village." Unknown to him, Naruto and Senku were listening to every word he was saying and was silently crying. So Iruka-sensei was lying to me as well. I can't believe I was so stupid to believe someone from outside my clan will ever care for me. The new genin was thinking, but then he heard the next part. But for Uzumaki Naruto, I hold nothing but respect. He's a proud citizen of Konoha. Mizuki sneered before saying, "Too bad you won't see me kill the demon, now die." Ready to deliver the final strike. But suddenly Naruto appeared and rammed his right knee in the traitor's face while his partner rammed its head in the Chunin's gut, sending him flying a couple of feet. "If you touch Iruka-sensei, I'll kill you," the genin said while his partner was watching his sensei. "What could you to me? I could kill you in a second." "Then go ahead and try it. I can do more damage than you. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu." Then the whole forest was filled with Narutos. Mizuki just stood there speechless when the clones spoke in unison, "Oi! Weren't you going to kill me? If you don't come, then I'll go to you." And with that, all the clones charged, intending to beat the crap out of the Chunin. In Konoha, a loud, really unmanly, long, screeching, rather stereotyped girly scream could be heard. I'm not trying to insult anybody, but I couldn't think of anything else, so please don't take it the offensive way. The next thing the brown-haired Chunin saw was his attacker beaten to a pulp and the floor twitching. I guess I overdid it. Naruto, are you okay? Of course, sensei, never better. Too bad about my headband though. Come here and close your eyes. Naruto did as told, and when he opened them he had his sensei's headband in his forehead. Both were so happy that didn't saw that Mizuki was moving. With his last batch of strength and a shout of, "Die demon!" he launched a kunai that only scratched the scroll, but he got tree claw marks across his face courtesy of the blonde's partner. After that, Mizuki passed out from the pain. From the scratched part of the scroll a folded paper fell addressed to one person. Uzumaki Naruto. The kid immediately took it and began to read. "Dear Naruto. How are you? Hopefully well. I'm sure it's a surprise reading this, but you'll see I'm your father and I'm sure you know me or at least heard about me. If not, damn, what does anyone have to do to be remembered? But know that my name is Kazama Arashi or the Yondaime. I write this because what I'm about to do. The Kyuubi is attacking and there is only one way to stop him. I'm sorry for putting this burden on you, son, and even if it is my wish that you are to be treated like the hero you're about to become, I fear that maybe that won't happen, but please don't blame the Hokage, your mother or the villagers. It just happened that way. I'm not asking for your forgiveness, just a little understanding. The fact is that you were the only one that could save Konoha in that time. So I'm sorry. I know is not much, but everything I own, including the clan techniques and my own, are left to you. Along with this jutsu I created for the clan and more importantly to you. Your mother knows it. Ask her about the Jujin Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Man Beast Shadow Clone. And show her this letter. Remember, son, doesn't matter what anybody said, you're not a monster or a demon. You're someone with a burden that you didn't ask for, so be free, be strong, live happy and fulfill your dreams. Don't let fear, anger or hatred consume you. And for everything that's good in the world, don't become a self-centered prick. From a father who loves you with all his heart and wishes with every fiber of his being be with you." Naruto finished the letter, pocketed in his jacket, and ran off, followed by Senku. He just couldn't take it anymore, leaving a confused Iruka with the scroll. When the news came to the clan, everybody started looking for him. They didn't know the reason, but it was obvious that he wouldn't do it just because of it. Soon Hinata joined the search. "Anyo. Sumair-san, why did Naruto-kun disappeared? I don't know, Hinata, but I intend to find out. I just wish to know where he is." Hinata then remembered something lost into her memory, where her friend goes when he needed to think. Flashback starts. A 10-year-old Naruto was leading by the hand of blushing Hinata towards the Hokage monument, and when they arrived they sat in the head of the Yondaime and looked towards the village, admiring the beauty of the view they got. After 20 minutes Hinata spoke up. Anyo. Naruto-kun, why are we here? I wanted to show you. This is my thinking spot. This is where I come when I need to be alone. But then why are you showing it to me? Because you're my best friend, that's why, said Naruto as if it was the most obvious thing in the world, making Hinata blush severely. After a few minutes he spoke again. You know, for some reason I just feel safe in this place, more in this specific head. Flashback ends. After the realization she went alone towards the Hokage monument, hoping to find him. And as she suspected, there he was over his father's head, in the company of his partner. He seemed to be talking to someone while Senku was staring to the front. Naruto was so absorbed that he didn't notice her approaching. Soon enough she was at hearing range. Isn't it ironic that every time I'm in need of comfort or inspiration I come to you seeking it? Whom is he talking to? Even if I didn't know I still came. Just like any other kid does with its family. I turned to you, Dad. At this Hinata gasped silently. What did he say? Is this the truth, Naruto-kun? But the shock was soon replaced with joy. Now no one, not even the council, will be able to oppose for them to be together. I wonder how different things would have been if you were still around. I wonder if the village despised me. I wonder if my life would have been different. But I wonder what besides the looks I got from you. Don't misunderstand me. I'm still royally pissed with you, but still you can't blame me. What would you do in my place? I understand the reason in a way. Hey, I guess we do have that in common. Hinata, thinking that she heard enough, called for him before she hears something private. A Naruto-kun, I've been looking for you. Hinata-chan, what are you doing here? Asked Naruto emotionlessly. Everybody is looking for you. Okay, let's go. And with that the trio left the monument with the blonde and the tiger, unaware of the revelation of his secret. Back in the Hokage office, Sumire was both relieved and furious with her son, and she was going to give him a piece of her mind when they returned to their home. Back in the compound, Sumire was speaking so fast that her words were almost impossible to understand. What were you thinking disappearing like that, and you also stole the scroll of ceilings? The scroll of ceilings? What the hell possessed you, Todo? Something like that? Seriously now, what do you have to say in your defense, young man? She finally said, and stopped to regain her breath. Why? Said the blonde, looking at the floor while his bangs hid his eyes. Sumire, seeing her son's behavior, sensed that something was wrong, and it was frustrating that she didn't know what Naruto. Why did you tell me who he was, after all these years, and you didn't tell? He said, lifting his head and meeting her amber eyes with a steeled glare in his usually warm blue eyes. All these years, all those times I asked you, and I had to find out from a letter that he left me, so why? What's the reason you feel that you need to hide the truth from me? He was doing anything but shouting. At this the branch head was taken back, understanding what happened. Her son found out who his father was. Calm down and listen to me, okay? After he calmed down, which took quite a while, she started explaining. Naruto, during the last war your father made a lot of enemies, and we agreed that until you could fend for yourself and for the family you will probably have one day, you will go by the name of Uzumaki. After a few seconds Naruto nodded in understanding, but it was obvious that it will take some days to get past the subject, but his mother was sure he will eventually get over it. Naruto wanted to ask her mother about his father, how he was like, what he ate, what was his thoughts, and some things like the funny feeling he was having towards Hinata, get to know him in a way, but he was tired, and the next day there were the sorting of the teams, so he went to bed. Sumire just watched her son. She knew he was hurt, but she also knew that he will pull out of this one. And with that Naruto's school life ended, and his real journey towards his goal was starting the next day. The next morning Naruto was walking to the academy with a faraway look, still trying to digest everything he found out yesterday. In less than 3 hours he found out he was the vessel of the most powerful demon, son of the greatest shinobi and the target of who knows how many ninjas. He was so distracted that the only thing that stopped him from constantly bumping into someone or something was Senku, who kept pulling him by his jacket. When he arrived to his classroom he took his usual seat next to his friend Hinata while his partner got on top of the nearby desk, curled himself and proceeded to sleep as well, unaware that the entire class was being watched. In the Hokage Tower all the Junins were gathered around the crystal ball that the Hokage held in order to see the candidates for Genin. This, for the difference of a few details, was a common thing to do every time a class graduates. The difference was that in the room was a young woman in Anbu uniform without her mask. Of course everybody knew who she was, and also everybody knew that because she was in that room Kakashi won't show up. While watching the crystal ball someone on the woman's left spoke. You know, Chidori, your cousin is really cute when he does that. It makes you want to kill something, said the woman while watching Naruto mumble some incoherent things and snuggling deeper into his own arms, making Sumire, who was also in the room, to sigh at the comment. The woman known as Chidori turned towards the one who said the comment and answered back. Now I think you're overreacting a little bit, don't you think? Gaining a nod of approval from Sumire, before the head of the tiger branch heard the rest of the comment. Besides, he used to be cuter. But you're right, it makes you want to maim something. At this comment everybody in the room sweat dropped. But what was to expect if those two were best friends practically from day one? Yes, Uzumaki Chidori and Mitarashi Anko were best friends, and thanks to that fact Anko's psycho-like character rubbed in Chidori from an early age. Remember when he was only 7 Anko, we was so cute back then. Yes, and naive. I can't believe we actually convinced him to fill the onsen with snakes. Or the time he defended you from that idiotic villager. Flashback. Chidori, Anko and a 7-year-old Naruto and Senku were walking towards the blonde's favorite ramen stand. The reason is that due to a mission Sumire was out of the city and Chidori offered to watch over him, and for the sake of not being alone with a 7-year-old she managed to convince Anko to join them. While they were on the way, a stupid villager seeing them decided to share his opinion of them, so he shouted, "Damn, you traitors bitch, why are you still here? Just die and free us from your sickening presence. And this is low even for you relating yourself with that demon, arg." The man couldn't finish the sentence because he was now in the floor, doubled in pain courtesy of Naruto's fist that was aimed to his family jewels, while Senku bit his leg as hard as he could. "No one talks to my friend that way, do it again and I'll make sure you pay, get it?" Flashback ends. Yeah, I still can't believe the brat stood up for me. "Well, he cares for you," said Sumire, "but I still don't approve the fact that you tried to teach him how to torture people." "Bah, he will have to use it eventually, besides it's not like I taught him my trademark secrets," said the snake mistress. The Hokage cleared his throat to get everyone's attention. As soon as he got it, he started explaining the specific reason for the meeting. All right, the main reason for this meeting is that usually the teams are meant to be specialized in an area, whether it's assault, tracking, recognizance, to mention some. The problem is that this time around there are too many jacks of all trades. As such, there can't be specialized teams, so I called you here to see what can we do without unbalancing the teams. Hokage-sama, I get that making specialized teams will make things unbalanced and eventually mess things up, but what does it have to do with me? Asked Chidori. The old man turned to see her, and it still amazed him how much she had changed from that bratty 14-year-old that used to scare everyone outside her clan, including surprisingly his deceased successor, to this amazingly beautiful young woman that was now a great example of how a shinobi must be and act. While she was still somewhat disrespectful, she was never out of place, and fulfilled the orders she was given in a quick and effective way. But outside her job she was a wonderful and caring person, even if she had a somewhat explosive and sadistic character. Of course, the change wasn't just in attitude but physical as well. She was as tall as Sumire with vibrant sapphire blue hair that reached her hips, and hourglass-shaped body with sizable breasts, long-toned legs. Her eyes that used to be light brown are now emerald green thanks to the bond with her partner Yabun, wild, untamed, brute. You get the idea? A fully grown male jaguar that this day in particular decided to stay at the compound, while her face usually held a genuine, carefree, slightly psychotic smile, now was serious, making obvious that she had a valid question. Because right now all the non-specialized students, there are a lot with potential for more than just one thing. And you want me to take a student or a team and make them assassination specialist, don't you? Replied Chidori. After all, when it comes to assassination, she was the pride and joy of the Jaguar branch. And that's an accomplishment by itself. After all, the Jaguar branch are the Uzumaki assassination specialists. All this at the age of 26. Yes, I would like you and Anko to take, if not a team, an apprentice in your respective arts. Don't you think that's a little too early, Hokage-sama? Asked Sumire in a concerned tone. She knew that if Chidori and Anko could have a choice, they would probably choose her son. Maybe you're right, after they become Chunin then. In the mind of Chidori and Anko there was just one thought, damn it. So close. Now that out of the way, the other reason is that I really don't know what to do, or more likely who to put in Sasuke's and Kakashi's team, so any ideas? After a couple of minutes of discussion, the teams were set and all the present decided to watch the crystal ball. Back in the classroom, Sasuke arrived to, and after seeing the blonde sleeping form got angry. He still was sore after Naruto defeated in a sparring match during their 3rd year at the academy. Hey, I still can't believe they let a loser like you graduate, said the Uchiha, with his face now in a scowl. Naruto just shifted his head in a way that was now watching Hinata, mumbled something and closed his eyes again. Damn it, Dobi, answer me. Seeing that he wasn't getting an answer, he just walked away with anger plastered in his face while Naruto mumbled, stupid emo teme. Sakura, being the fangirl that she is, promptly stepped in to defend the object of her admiration. Naruto, baka, don't talk to Sasuke-kun like that. Now apologize to him. Seeing that the blonde had no intention of listening or doing what she just told him to do, she charged, only to be halted by Naruto's partner, who was in a crouching position ready to pounce her if given any sign of treat towards his partner. "Screw you, Sakura. Hinata-chan, please wake me up when Iruka-sensei comes back," and with that he went back to blissful unconsciousness. Hinata on the other hand was just there staring at her best friend, trying to find a way to make him know her feelings, but at the same time scared of the outcome. However, she without noticing was leaning closer to the face of the object of her feelings, then deciding that their sensei should arrive at any second decided to wake him up. "Anyo en Naruto-kun, I think Iruka-sensei will arrive now," she said while gently moving him in a futile attempt to bring him back to the land of the living. Seeing that the blonde didn't react, she moved a bit closer and tugged his jacket gently. "Naruto-kun, wake up." When he heard someone calling his name, the blonde raised his face to see who was calling him, but he did it in such a way that his and Hinata's lips met in what it would be their first kiss. At this, Hinata's eyes widened of surprise while her face reached a new shade of red, while the kiss was sending in her being waves of feelings. Her first kiss was with the boy she loved and admired for so long, and feeling was joyous and at the same time intoxicating, producing a torn feeling between the need to deepen in the kiss and backing away. "Naruto-kun is kissing me? Naruto-kun is kissing me. Maybe we can be together. He might even share my feelings, but this was just an accident. No, besides he haven't pulled back, maybe it's not an impossible." And she returned to enjoying it for whatever amount of time will last. To Naruto, however, was different. He was enjoying the kiss alright, but he was being tortured by one little thought. Hiyashi-san is going to kill me. Hiyashi-san is going to kill me. Hiyashi-san is going to kill me. But this feels good and right, and how come I didn't notice how pretty she was? No, I have to stop doing that, I'm not a pervert. And with that though, he tried pulling back his head, and to his surprise failing to do it. A feeling in the back of his head didn't let him, and was somehow saying to him that if he pulled back he will regret greatly. After what it felt an eternity for both of them, but was really 5 seconds, Iruka returned to the classroom with the roster for the teams, but he noticed that everyone was watching another thing instead of paying attention. Curious, he directed his gaze towards where the rest of the kids were looking and found the scene. After that he coughed rather loudly to gain everyone's attention and successfully separating the pair, who were now several seats from each other with a face red as a tomato. "Alright, now that everyone is paying attention, I want to congratulate all of you for graduating and becoming genin." And he proceeded to explain about how a ninja must behave and that they now represented the village. Naruto, however, was not listening. He was more focused on the weird, funny feeling that his friend caused in the pit of his stomach, and how after the kiss the feeling got funnier and weirder. Now for the teams. Team 1. Why do I feel this way towards Hinata? Team 2. Do I like her? Team 3. Of course I like her, she's my friend. Team 4. But I just like her that way? Now I'm skipping the rest of the teams and go to the important ones. Team 7. Uzumaki Naruto, Hyuga Hinata, Uchiha Sasuke. Your sensei is Hitaki Kakashi. Team 8. Inazuka Kiba, Nara Shikamaru, Yamakana Ino. Your sensei is Sarutobi Asuma. Team 10. Akamichi Choji, Aburame Shino, Haruno Sakura. Your sensei is Yuhi Kurenai. This arrangement caused several indifferent reactions. First, Sakura and Ino both shared one thought. Why can't I be with Sasuke-kun? And inner Sakura added her 2 cents. Iruka-sensei, you'll pay for this, Shanaru. The last loyal survivor of the Uchiha was thinking differently. Damn it. Why do I have to be with these losers? Well, at least I'm not with any fangirls. Naruto was thinking differently. Why the Teme? Why? Well, at least I'm with Hinata-chan. But to Hinata this sole day was without the shadow of a doubt the best day of her entire life. Not only did she receive her first kiss from the love of her life, but she was also in the same team as his, and she will be able to tell him her feelings. Alright class, your senseis will be picking you up after lunch, so good luck. Naruto was pissed along with his partner. Why? Because his so-called sensei was 2 hours late, so he decided to do to his sensei what his cousin Chidori asked him to do. Fill the guy with shuriken and kunai if he ever show up late. He of course knew the reason of this weird request. Hell, everybody on Konoha knew that she hated Kakashi and she didn't mind demonstrating it. What he didn't know why she was so angry with the shinobi. He have a theory, but he decided to keep it to himself and do what she asked him to do. Because when it comes to those two, it was better to do what Chidori asked you to, or else. So in the minute their sensei showed his face, he was rewarded 4 shuriken and 4 kunai that didn't hit the target. My first impression of you guys is that I hate you, especially you, said Kakashi pointing at Naruto, who just scoffed. Okay, meet me in the roof in 5 minutes, and disappeared in a puff of smoke. Now in the roof the 3 genins seated down in front of their sensei that studied them for a moment before speaking. Okay, now tell me your dreams, goals, likes, dislikes and hobbies. No sensei, why don't you go first? Fair enough, my name is Hitaki Kakashi. I don't feel like telling you my likes, my dislikes are none of your business. I don't have that many dreams and I have a lot of hobbies. All we learned was his name, was the thought that crossed their minds. Alright now you brooding one. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. I don't like many things. I dislike a lot of things and I don't like a lot of things. Training is my hobby and my goal is to kill a certain man and revive my clan. Right, now you the one with the kitty. This comment earned him a growl from Senku, who was more than ready to teach this guy how much of a kitty he was. Now I see why Chidori hates him, thought the blonde before answering. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. I like my friends, especially Hinata-chan. This made Hinata blush. Ramen, training, my partner and my family. I dislike arrogant bastards who think everything must be handed to them just because they come from a clan. And people who judge others without knowing them. My dream is to be Hokage so everyone will acknowledge me. Okay now you. Anyo, my name is Hyuga Hinata. I like gardening, my friends, making medicine, and gentle people. I dislike rude people, and judgmental people. My dream is to become strong enough to be the clan's head and... She trailed off while glancing at Naruto, blushing and twiddling her fingers. Wow, she's really cute when she do that. No stop that dammit, thought the blonde. Then Kakashi proceeded to explain the why of the genin test and the survival training. The next day he woke up at 5 and reached the training ground at 6 to find his longtime friend there already. And after remembering how his family teased him because of the kiss they shared, how they find out was beyond him, but he say hello to her and leaned in the rail of the bridge to contemplate the river while both Genin and Tiger stayed in an uncomfortable silence. Soon their other teammate arrived and after 2 hours their sensei arrived as well. You cycloptic bastard, why are you 2 hours late? Yelled the blonde while his partner nodded in agreement. I got lost in the road of life. Anyway, the idea is that you take one of this bells from me. You have until noon. No sensei, but there is only 2 bells. The one who doesn't get a bell will be sent back at the academy. Now when you come you better do it with the intention of killing me. Then he put an alarm clock in a stump. In that moment Naruto decided to talk. Why are you always late if you have an alarm clock? You should watch yourself. People like you are usually the weakest and are the first ones oh fail, answered back Kakashi. Naruto was about to launch himself towards the Junin for the comment, but he calmed himself and remembered what his cousin told him to do. What was I supposed to do in a situation like this? Oh yeah, I remember now. And so he raised his left hand and folded his entire hand except the middle finger in a rude gesture. What was that? Asked the angry Kakashi. What my cousin told me to do if you started acting like that. Kakashi took a second to calm himself. It was unbelievable that a genin managed to make him angry just like that. Anyway, begin. And the 4 disappeared in the woods. At least they can mask their presence. At the same time Naruto and Senku were observing their sensei while forming a plan. At plain sight he didn't look too impressive. But neither many of his cousins and he knew better than underestimate his opponent. Okay, now what I have to do is distract him with a couple of Kage Bunshin and then Senku and I can take the bells, then while I keep him busy Senku can give Hinata-chan the other bell and we both pass. And with that he charged. Okay sensei, let's go Uranus, Naruto said. You're a really weird kid. Peeved like I care. Naruto made 4 shadow clones and charged. The clones first crossing in the path of each other without bumping into the other, attempting to confuse Kakashi, followed by Senku and behind him Naruto. Why the hell does he know Kage Bunshin? Thought Kakashi while he jumped over a sweeping kick the first clone launched, and shifted his weight to his left making the punch of second clone miss him, and then he raised his left arm to block the kick aimed at the left side of his face by the third clone, and lower his right forearm low enough to keep reading his book and block the punch of the last clone. When Senku tried to make a low pounce to his middle area, he failed to notice that Naruto used his right hand to hold himself in the back of his partner for just a second while he thrusted his left towards his face, and he had to jerk his head back to avoid the kick. Quickly assessing the situation, Kakashi leapt back while the clones followed him and Senku moved to his right. He of course noticed this action, but he paid no mere attention to the subject. After all, Naruto was too young to use the bond in the way that makes his clan so powerful. But that decision was quickly proven wrong when Naruto started making seals. There is no way he could be able to do that. A right focus on the bond and mold it, then let Senku do the rest. Here goes, tiger, ram, ox, snake, bird, tiger. And Kakashi's fears were confirmed when he heard Naruto saying the name of the jutsu, because it meant one thing. Jukaden. Housinka no Jutsu, Beast Fire Release. Mythical Phoenix Flame. And from the mouth of the tiger several fist-sized fireballs were launched in a spiraling pattern towards his sensei. Kakashi Juti had one thought, oh shit, before using Doden. Shinju Zanshu no Jutsu. Earth Release. Inner Decapitation. To get away from the fireballs that destroyed the clones that were attacking him. Seeing that his plan didn't work, Naruto quickly went into the trees and started looking for Hinata, while the mentioned watched the whole show while thinking, Naruto-kun is amazing. Hinata-chan over here. Naruto-kun? Yes, I was wondering if we could work together to get the bells with your Juunkin and my jutsus. We'll get those bells in no time, he said, making Hinata giggle. Okay, now this is what we're going to do. Damn it, why this happened? I'm an Uchiha. Sasuke was not having a good day. First he's stuck with the Dobi. Next the said Dobi proves that he was indeed holding back at the academy. Later his sensei makes him look like an idiot, leaving him stuck in hole and proving that even with Sasuke's Sharingan active he is no match for the Junin. Are you willing to work with us, Teme? Go to hell, Dobi. Fine, then we'll just left you in that hole. Let's go, Hinata-chan. Wait, what do you have in mind? So the blonde figure it out, let's see how they do it. Well, they passed anyway. No sooner than a second he finished that trail of thought. 3 clones along with Hinata rushed towards him. Dodged the first roundhouse kick. Parried the left hook of the second and blocked the right hook of the third, but what he didn't count was the fact that the 3 clones grabbed his arms while Hinata closed all of the tenketsus in his left leg, making him stumble before he got rid of the clones, while Hinata attempted to get the bells and managed to stop her attempt. Just in that moment Naruto, Senku and Sasuke appeared and the 2 humans began making seals while Hinata got away. When they finished they launched their techniques. Jujin Kaden. Kasumi Engo no Jutsu. Man-Beast Fire Release. Covering mist. And green combustible mist was launched from the Bai and the tiger's mouth. Kaden. Gukakyu no Jutsu. Fire Release. Grand Fireball, launched Sasuke. When the techniques of both boys and animal merged, created a sea of flames that almost leave Kakashi turned into a crisp while burning everything else in the range of the attack. They even managed to burn a good amount of the Junin's uniform when the alarm sounded. Okay, now all of you, pass, he said in a happy tone while using Sweden to put out the fire on his clothes in the forest. I'm skipping the explanation of the whole trash thing. Back in the tower everybody was shocked or amused of the copy ninja's aspect. His clothes all tattered and burned while limping from the leg Hinata stroked. Hokage-sama Team 7 passed. Everyone was shocked of this statement until they heard a joyful laugh. It's good to see that the brat is practicing what I taught him. Kakashi turned around to see the one laughing and the cause of his current state and said in a low growl, "You." And there he laughing his ass off was Uzumaki Iroh along with his partner, who found this situation very amusing as well. You just had to teach him, Kaden, don't you? Calm down, Kakashi, is not like you're dead, and besides your book is safe, isn't it? Well yes, but why? Because I wanted to. So tell me, Kakashi, what is that you said? Asked Sarutobi, not believing his ears. I said they passed the test and I'm sure they will be makers of great things. And with that the test of skill for Team 7 ended and their journey as shinobi begun, guided by a new teacher. Damn it, why the hell do we have to this, again? Shouted the blonde in frustration. Of all the meager and undignified tasks they have to perform as genin, this was one of the worst, if not the worst of them all. Capture Tora, the daimyo's wife cat. No, Naruto-kun, I'm sure that Tora didn't want to scratch you like that, retorted Hinata, while blushing at the proximity of the object of her affections. A week passed since the accidental kiss, and instead of improving it seems that she retracted herself further to the point where she fainted if Naruto was too close to her. "TCH, this is a waste of time, we should be training," said Sasuke, adding his 2 cents. Senku couldn't but agree. Naruto couldn't help but to agree with him, not that he will ever say it out loud. In all the time that had been a team, the only thing they have been doing its chores that all the people were too lazy to do themselves. Granted, not all of them were like that, some actually have a reason of not doing them. Like the lady who had a broken leg, but the rest were just lazy people. Now Naruto, don't complain, these missions are necessary and they're not a waste of time as you call them," said his sensei without raising his gaze from the book in front of his face. "What is that purpose?" retorted the blonde, puzzled. "To build teamwork, of course," said Kakashi as if it was the most obvious thing in the world. "What?" Naruto all but shouted. "How the hell are we supposed to build teamwork doing chores?" "Shut up, Dobi," said annoyed the Uchiha. "What was that, Teme?" Acting as if he didn't hear it, he carried on with his comment. "But I agree with him, this is nothing but a waste of time." "That might be, but this is the work of a genin." "Being a genin sucks," Naruto finally said. He thought that when he became genin he would be doing rescues, escorting princesses, guarding the daimyo, not doing chores. The only thing good is that tomorrow was his free day, and if he finished this meager missions on time, maybe he could get Setsu-san teach him more Doden, and maybe even get the old man to teach him another Kaden jutsu. After saying goodbye to his friend and sensei, he and his partner headed back to the compound. 20 minutes later he reached the compound and he went straight to the area where the Jaguar branch lived and trained in hopes of finding his Doden teacher. He found him in the tallest rooftop of the farthest house, apparently reading something, and Naruto was sure that it was some awesome manual of how to be a better ninja and a better clan head. Yes, Naruto felt for Setsu something akin to admiration. It did help that the Jaguar branch head taught him the only Doden jutsu he knows. I would like to remind all that this is not a yaoi fic, so please don't misunderstand. Setsu was reading a right, however it was not as good as Naruto thought. Not many knew his secret. And those who knows of his secret won't say a word under the treat of being impaled with a spear of earth in a very painful place. That Setsu, the proud and dignified, yet easygoing head of the Jaguar branch, was closet pervert, and as such he was an avid fan of ICHA Paradise. But he knew better than to just read it in the open, especially in front of the last of the Kazama. If Chidori or worse Sumire find out, not even the Kyuubi itself will save him from their wrath. "Setsu-san, down here!" shouted the blonde, making Setsu stumble and fumble his book in his hands in an attempt to hide from the boy. He succeeded a second before Naruto was able to notice it. "Naruto, what did I tell you about shouting when people are in rooftops?" Setsu said, before gazing at the blonde. The first thing he noticed it was that Senku was missing. It was uncommon that he and Naruto separated. "Not to do it," Naruto answered, rubbing the back of his head. "That's right, and where is Senku anyway? Probably went to find Nadare. He needs to spar, just as a human needs to train a Uzumaki animal does it as well, and what better way to do it than to spar with others." "I see, well anyways, what do you want, Naruto? I was wondering if you could teach me a Doden jutsu." "Another one? Yeah, how am I supposed to Hokage if I'm not strong enough?" "Fine, come on." He knew that the fastest way he could get rid of him was to give him what he wanted. A couple of minutes later they reached the training field that was used in the compound to train in earth jutsus. It was completely deserted as the previous training in it was finished over an hour ago. The plan that was put in action all those years ago came to fruition, and many of the infants were showing clear promise in the Doden area, hence the why of the field. There the blonde sat cross-legged on the floor and listened intently to his teacher for the evening. "Alright Naruto, this time I'm going to show you Doden. Retsudaten show, earth release. Split earth turnaround palm. This is a Dangeruo's jutsu and you could seriously hurt someone if you're not careful with it, okay?" Naruto nodded in affirmation and raised his hand, signaling he had a question. "Yes Naruto, what is it? Does this jutsu have a limited range like the Doden?" "Shinju Zanshu no jutsu, earth release. Inner decapitation technique." "No Naruto, it doesn't now. Whacth carefully." Setsu Sadi and Prachi edited to create a mud clone before running through several hand seals and calling the name of the jutsu. "Doden. Retsudaten show," and he slammed his hands in the ground. Not a moment the words left his lips, the earth around the clone spiraled inwards on itself, burying the clone before crushing it. Now here are the seals. With that Setsu proceeded show him in slower motion the seals. Dragon, hare, ram, ape, ox, boar, rat, horse, dog, and after the final seal he gave the boy the last instruction. Oh yeah Naruto, you can use Kage Bunshin to speed the process. Since Chidori found out that he can use Kage Bunshins, she proceeded to explain to train him in the use of them, claiming that one day he will be as good as her. When he asked what was so important about Kage Bunshin, she explained to him, and then she proceeded to make his shadow clones do tree climbing, saying that the more control he had the more jutsus he can use, and thanks to this training he was finally able to master Kaden Hozenka no Jutsu. As such he can now ask Iroh for a new jutsu, as it was the agreement, after all, who is better to teach Kaden that the village's Kaden specialist. He found him in the tiger branch section in one of the big houses, It looks like Sasuke's house. Playing Go with another elder member of the branch while his tiger Setsu watched the game with interest. Oi, old man, now what Naruto? I mastered the Hozenka, so I'm here for you to fulfill your end of the deal. Fine, sit down and walked. Why? Asked the boy, truly puzzled. You're going to learn to play Go. What? Walked your voice, kid. This game foments strategy, something important you need to know. Why? Naruto, do you really think that Sarutobi became the Hokage by just charging head-on? No. Learning strategy, it's necessary if you want to become a great ninja. Now sit down and walked. If we have time, then maybe I'll show you a new Kaden Jutsu. After what it felt like an eternity, the game ended with Iroh coming as the winner. He went to a training field with Naruto, who was scowling by this time. Even if he did learn something, the less he saw of Go the better. Now Naruto, I'm going to teach you Kaden Gukakyu no Jutsu, fire release. Grand fireball technique. Now that got the boy's attention, since he saw the Uchiha perform it in the test he had been seeing to learn it. Iroh made a half-tiger seal with his left hand, calling in his mind, Kaden Gukakyu no Jutsu, and blowing a massive fireball that reached the training post 5 meters away. Now Naruto, for this Kaden you have to mold the chakra in lungs, retain it and release it through your mouth. But unlike the Hozenka, here you have to release it as a large stream instead of several bursts. I know, now show me seals. Naruto was practically bouncing in his spot. Calm down Naruto, shouting won't make Iroh go faster. Only an act of kami could achieve that, said a void with mirth in its tone. The boy turned to see Setsu as the source of the voice. Unlike the Inuzuka in the Uzumaki, a partner talking like a human was not common. Most can only communicate through the use of the link in a telepathic way with their respective partners, along with their natural skill to communicate the usual way. In all the clan only 2 have exhibit the trait of human speech, one been Setsu. Like you're the one to talk. Oi, what about me? Said Naruto, diffusing the situation before it got out of hand. If they start arguing they won't stop for a long time. Oh right, sorry about that, he said, rubbing the back of his neck. The seals are snake, ram, ape, boar, horse, tiger. You should practice with 2-handed seals before moving to other variations. Thanks old man. Kid, remember there are no shortcuts in life, said the tiger. Naruto only nodded while watching the tiger. Even if it was obvious that he passed his prime, he still exuded an aura of power, showing his unusual colored fur, product of his partner's mastery over Kaden. Black with intense fire-red stripes, and a pair of piercing gray eyes just like Iroh. Both of them have taught Naruto more than just jutsu and strategy over the years. What do you think you're doing, stealing my phrases? The kid needs someone competent to teach him. Yes, me, you competent old goat? Don't make me laugh. The argument continued for 2 hours before both tiger and human called it quits, only to pick up a exhausted Naruto that passed out due to exhaustion. Back in his house, after leaving him in his bed, he encountered Sumire, who wanted to have a word with him. What happened to him? Don't worry, he is just exhausted. I can't help it, he is growing too fast. He is a kid with a big dream to achieve and even bigger shadow to surpass. Every day he grows stronger, and I'm afraid of what bastards like Danzo will do. You worry too much, relax, he is still a genin. I know, but still. I think you should teach it to him now, it is after all his father's gift to him. What? But that is dangerous, he could get seriously hurt or worse. Because it's his father's gift. And with that, Sumire knew that the old man was right. The next morning Naruto was going to the training field that his mother told him to go. What Sumire didn't account was that her mother was training Naruto's reflexes that very same day. training that involved throwing to the kid several blunt objects that was meant to dodge. The result was a very sore Naruto who was hearing his grandmother's words in his head over and over again. Don't think, just act, Naruto. What the hell does she think I'm doing, staring at the space? Arriving to the field, he found his mother along with her partner Rui waiting for them. Alright Naruto, what I'm going to show you, it's the jutsus your father entrusted me with to give it to you. Naruto's eyes widened and a real smile adorned his face before talking. You mean the… He didn't finish as if expecting to be a bad joke. Sumire couldn't help but to smile at her son's face. Yes Naruto. I'm going to teach you the Jujin Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Man-beast shadow clone. So pay attention. The seals are tiger, ape, cross. Then you have to send part of the molded chakra to Senku so he can produce a clone. Now watch. Sumire did the sequence and said the name of the jutsu. A cloud of ninja smoke appeared, and when it dissipated, a perfect, solid copy of both Sumire and Rui stood next to the original. Naruto could do nothing but marvel at the jutsu his father made for him. Glad you liked it Naruto, now you try it. The blonde did as instructed, and instead of the healthy clones he obtained a pair of sickly-looking ones. Don't worry Naruto, you will get it. Eventually, the head of Tiger Branch said with mirth in her voice, making the offended glare at her. Practice makes perfection, so get to it, okay? Hey mom, Naruto said, trying in a moment of curiosity. Yes dear. How come you know the Suga and Dog Breath knows the Torasume? She knew that teaching Riku that movement will come back to haunt her eventually. And it looked like it was now, because it was something I copied from her when we first took the Chunin exams together, and in that same fight she copied my jutsu. But how? Because whether both clans admit it or not, we are very similar, and as such, if you have good sight and the opportunity, you can copy to a certain extent their techniques as they can copy ours. To a certain extent? Yes, for example our Suga, it's incomplete, as well as their Torasume no Jutsu. I see now. He was about to keep asking questions, but his mother interrupted him. The jutsu is not going to learn himself, now go and practice. Naruto did just that. Later in the day he was taking a well-deserved rest from trying to learn the jutsu. Senku left him again to go hunting in the forest. His progress was slow, if any at all, but that won't matter, he will master it even if it takes him years to do it. Don't worry, that won't happen. He broke the trail of thoughts when he heard the sound of something being punched not too far away from where he was lying down in the grass, so let his curiosity took the best of him and went to investigate the source of the sound, finding Chidori beating the crap out of a training dummy. Oi Chidori-chan, over here, he called her with enthusiasm while waving his hand. Hello Naruto, what the hell are you doing here? Weren't you supposed to be training? She said with a smile. I was just taking a break, you know how my mom gets if I overdo it. Yes, Aunt Sumire can be a real mother hen sometimes. Again, what are you doing here? Trying to learn something worthwhile, huh? Or are you spying me? No, I don't. Besides, it's not like you hide that much, he said, pointing at her outfit. It wasn't that revealing, but it clung tightly to her body, giving a good look of her curves. Bonk. Watch it, brat, she snarled while shaking her fist at the same time that Naruto rubbed the injured spot. Itai, then he glared at her. What the hell was that for? For saying inappropriate to your cousin. Fine, I'm sorry then. From that point the talk covered several topics, from what was new in their lives to techniques. It was all good until it got to Naruto's sensei, Kakashi. So you did get Kakashi as a sensei, she said with tension in her voice. Yes, from the rumors I've heard he's pretty tough, and that he have an awesome personal jutsu, and that he knows thousands of them, but they also said that he was involved in an incident that make him resign from Anbu as a result. Naruto, I need to be alone now, could you leave? Chidori said with her eyes never leaving the floor. Okay Chidori-chan. After Naruto left, Chidori grabbed the dummy in the shoulder area and pulled using his now revealed claws, taking a chunk of what it would be the shoulder blade, part of the artery and muscle if the dummy would be a human. She lifted her head, revealing her amber eyes full of sadness and anger. She was not angry at Naruto for bringing up the incident, he didn't know better. She was angry at Kakashi, because she was familiar with the incident. She still can't believe she was attracted to him. She remembers the first time she heard from him. It was when she entered the academy. All her professor did was say, Kakashi did this. Kakashi did that. It pissed her off, and she was resolved to kick his ass when she met this supposed prodigy. She met him shortly after her graduation, When her future uncle-in-law visited her aunt, he was accompanied by his genin team. There she meet two people that eventually will become her friends, Obito and Rin. As for Kakashi, that time Obito said that he was a stuck-up bastard and Chidori had to agree with the Uchiha. The guy wouldn't go out of his way to help his friends if that endangered the mission. Thought that girls could only be decent shinobis as medic nin, and that losers were not supposed to be allowed as ninja. Unfortunately, her work discipline was not settled yet, so her fangirl side was immediately attracted to he mystery that was Kakashi, and the latter seemed interested as well. They tried to date a couple of times. While she tried, Kakashi was detached as always. The first real problem came when he was 16, several months before he became a Junin. In a moment of weakness, she showed him a jutsu exclusive of her branch. She still remember that day. Flashback. Kakashi, come, I want to show something great. What a waste of time, it better be worth it, Chidori. You won't know until you see it, she said in a sing-song voice with a playful smile on her face. When they reached the training spot, he looked to see a dummy in place, nothing special. This is it? Wait, and she started doing seals before saying the name of the jutsu. Tubega. Howling Fang. Not a second after she said the words, a dull gray-colored glow covered her left hand while she sprinted full speed towards the dummy, ramming his hand in the area of the chest where the heart should be. That's it? What a waste of chakra. The wounds are internal, she said, and pushed a button behind the dummy that make the front become removable. Showing the soon-to-be Junin the effects of the jutsu. The exterior was intact while the interior was completely devastated where the palm struck. Flashback ends. Later she find out he basically redid the jutsu and he named it Chidori. Thanks to that she was nearly expelled of the Jaguars, if it wasn't for Setsu that vouched for her. Several years later, when he was an Anbu captain, he went on a mission with her older brother Hayate. From that mission only Kakashi returned and barely alive. Foul play was suspected, but Hen Chidori confronted the Junin. He resigned. He didn't say anything of what happened to her brother, just that she needed to let go, that it wasn't really her problem, it was between Hayate and him. Later she found out that Kakashi killed him with the Chidori. This was the main reason of why she is torn in the inside. She is still attracted to him, maybe even loves him, but that feeling was long buried under hate and anger. Bastard, we could have been happy together, she finally said while tears flowed freely in her face. Unknown to her, a certain blonde was listening, and that steeled his resolve. Naruto woke up grumbling about slave-driving grandmothers that had no respect for others. It was beyond him, why the hell did he have to get up so early? The sun was barely out, and because Kakashi was his sensei, he could afford to sleep another hour before he had to go train with his family or clansmen. A moment later he arrived to the training ground he was told to go. He absently noticed that it was the same training ground he used when Setsu trains with him in Doden Jutsus. In the middle of the training ground stood his grandmother, while Kyokudai was several meters behind her, resting on the ground observing his partner doing something he had seen 1,000 times before, and yet, it was as amazing as the first day. Uzumaki Tatsuki was surrounded by a flowing river of hot, active lava that danced as she moved her hands and chakra accordingly. The Uzumaki woman had her eyes closed, just reveling on the feeling of using her bloodline after so long. Then for a moment everything stood still. It was like the time had frozen everything in a tridimensional picture. Then she opened her eyes as her hands ran trough, a hand seal sequence at blinding speeds ending with dog. Maguma no Muchi, magma whip. As soon as those words left her lips, her left hand was covered in blue chakra, that in turn had a thin red string of lava coiled around it, incapable of reaching her arm. When the whip was ready, Tatsuki flicked her wrist, making the weapon sail trough the air and lash at the tree several meters in front of her, taking a good deal of the bark and leaving the part where the whip struck in flames. She discarded the whip and started another hand seal sequence ending in dog again, and called the name of the jutsu while striking the floor with her right fist. Uten. Funkazan Tsunami no Jutsu. Magma release. Volcanic tidal wave. And like its name, a huge wave of active magma raised in front of her and moved forward 10 meters before crashing down and setting every combustible thing in its path on fire. That was really cool, exclaimed a voice to her right, startling her. Since she was so focused on her exercise, she didn't sense the presence of her grandson until he spoke up. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? I wish I could do that. That comment was something Tatsuki winced at, as it was her wish to see her bloodline in use as well. It was known that Sumair and Naruto had the bloodline in their genes. If the elemental affinities of her daughter and the high prowess of Naruto with Kaiten and Doden were any clue of it. However, Sumire was incapable of mixing the elements and Naruto didn't even have the affinities to begin with. But seeing his face she couldn't help but to hope, who knows he might be able to. While it was good that you saw that I called you here for reflex training, Naruto groaned at the comment, knowing that he will be sore the rest of the day. Naruto moved trough the streets of Konoha while rubbing a particular sore spot in his left arm from the morning's practice. If he didn't know any better he could have sworn his grandmother was throwing those blood kunai that hard on purpose. When he arrived to the bridge as usual, an interesting person was there along with his team. It was none other than Mitarashi Anko, who was tapping her foot on the ground and for looks on her face. She had been waiting for him for a while. "Where have you been, Gaki?" "I've been waiting for nearly an hour and a half. I had reflex training with Grandma," was Naruto's answer. Anko however wasted enough time already, so she was not in the mood for small talk. "So do you have it or no?" "Yeah, I have it alright." "So where is it?" Naruto shook his head from left to right and spoke in a tone akin to a father chastising a child. "Anko-chan, did you really think I would give its location to you just like that? What kind of shinobi do you think I am? A dead one if you don't fulfill your agreement," growled Anko. Hinata, who was watching the whole ordeal, was panicking. Was the love of her life involved in something illegal? Naruto turned serious and asked, "What about you? Do you have your part of the agreement?" The Tokubetsu Junin took out an envelope from her trench coat. "Right here." The blonde gave a nod to his animal partner, who disappeared into the forest and came back with a folder in his mouth. "Here's what we agreed on. Iruka-sensei's daily schedule." Some myth ask why would Naruto give something that important to someone like Anko. The reason was simple. To Naruto, Iruka was way too stiff. Don't misunderstand, to the blonde genin, Iruka was like the older brother he always wanted but never had. So when he found out that Anko was interested in the Chunin, he seized the opportunity to hook him up. After all, if he was with Anko he was bound to loose up a little. "And here's the 5,000 ryo I promised," she said while handing the envelope at the same time she took the folder. "The money was just a bonus, really. So tell me, Gaki, how did you do it? Observing, asking, talking, that sort of thing. By the way, I have his address if you want." Anko pondered on the proposition for a moment before shaking her head and claiming that it wouldn't be fun if there was no secrets. A little late after Anko left there, Junin sensei appeared in a cloud of smoke, only to move out of the way using Kawarimi, as the space where he was standing moments ago was filled with shuriken. "Now Naruto, what did I tell you about doing that?" asked Kakashi with a mixed tone of anger and annoyance. "Not to do it. Then why are you still doing that?" "Because Chidori-chan told me to," he said as if it was the most obvious thing in the world. "Naruto, I don't care what your psychotic cousin told you to do." Naruto suddenly blanched. "I'm your sensei and you will listen to me, understood?" Kakashi said in a tone that left no room for discussion. "Hehehe, good morning Chidori-chan," said the blonde. "Naruto, do you actually expect me to believe that Psycho is right behind me?" And before he could get an ASNWER or Naruto could provide one, a feminine and very pissed voice interrupted them. "What Psycho is that, Kakashi?" The Junin stiffened and turned around slowly, hoping that his imagination was playing tricks on him. Unfortunately for him, Chidori was standing there with her arms folded beneath her bosom and a scowl on her face that promised nothing but the utmost pain for him, and clad in an outfit that if were other circumstances he would have enjoyed it. Apparently Chidori wanted to take a simple stroll on Konoha and decided that her old Junin uniform, outfit that she hadn't wore since she was promoted to Anbu 7 years ago. As a result, it was not only tight in the chest area, showing her C-cup, nearly D-cup breasts as they strained the fabric, but it showed her flat belly, result of all the training she had taken during the course of the years, and the pants were doing a great job in showing her ass. Of course that pales to the fact that he is about to be killed, and knowing her it would be in a very painful way. The only silver lining the situation had was that Anko was not in the premises. "So who is this Psycho you were talking about, Kakashi?" she asked as her pupils became slitted. Kakashi only stood there drenched in cold sweat. She then turned to the genin and said in even tones, "Okay brats, Kakashi and I are going to discuss an important matter, so leave." Of course Naruto translated in his mind, "I'm about to castrate your sensei with a dull rusted kunai and I don't want to scar you for life, so scram." Naruto just nodded and proceeded to guide them out of harm's way. And not a moment too late an explosion was heard and Kakashi passed them at full speed, followed by an infuriated Chidori that had in her hands what it looked like a rusted kunai that seemed devoid of any cutting edge. As Kakashi took the roofs looked back hoping to see that he lost his pursuer and ensured the safety of his unmentionables. Unfortunately for him the blue-haired female was still giving chase and was even more pissed if that was possible. At the same time the gates opened to reveal a female that was entering the village. She had brown hair that reached the small of her back, brown eyes that showed sincerity and calmness, 2 rectangular marks on her cheeks and a small on her face that was a byproduct of being finally home after all those years of traveling. She wondered what had changed during her long absence, what remained the same and what was her ex-teammate doing in that moment. Will he even remember her? She smiled kindly and answered, "Hello Kakashi, long time no see." And before he could say anything else he was stomped by the pursuer he had forgotten about. And before the blue-haired woman could extract her revenge on the cycloptic Junin a voice stopped her. "Hello Chidori, it's been a long time." The Uzumaki woman took a good look at the stranger in front of her before her eyes widened and moved towards her, accidentally stepping over Kakashi in the way. "Ren? Who?" She gave the woman a big hug before taking a step back and looked at her. "Time did make change for the better, oh my god. Look at you. Like you, I grew up. Come on, we have a lot of catching up to do. I know a bar near." And both women went to look for the establishment leaving and knocked out Kakashi behind. The next day was as routinarious as it can get for Team 7. Get to the bridge, wait for his sensei to arrive 2 hours late, get to the tower to gather menial tasks that they call D-ranked missions. And among them there was Naruto's favorite mission, to catch that blasted cat. So now Team 7 was in front of the Hokage with the demonic furball secured by the skin of its neck courtesy of Senku, who felt mighty proud of himself for catching the thing and keeping it secured within its jaws. As far as the tiger was concerned the cat didn't deserve the name Tora, as it was the tiger's opinion that it was shameful. Good work Team 7, now we still have some missions left. Madame Maymayu's wants her bushes arranged. There's groceries to be delivered, fences to painted. Uruka was interrupted by a familiar scream. No Toraaa. And retrieving the daimyo's wife's cat. In that moment Naruto exploded, unable to take more of the situation. No, hell no. I refuse to do more chores. We're ninjas for God's sake. Ninjas, give us a real mission. Naruto, you're just a genin. You can't go on a difficult mission just like that, said Uruka before launching a speech about the mission ranking. When he saw that no one was paying attention to him he was angry. Hey, are you listening? Yeah, I know Uruka-sensei, but we've done enough of these chores to get at least a C-ranked mission. The Hokage thought about it for a moment before addressing the Junin. What do you think, Kakashi? I think my team can handle a C-ranked mission, Hokage-sama, he said, making Naruto cheer. He tossed the scroll to Kakashi before calling in the client. Your mission is a simple bodyguard job. Who is it? A princess? A diplomat? Asked the exited blonde. As he said those words an old man stepped into the office. He smelled of sake, making Naruto cover his nose and the tiger recoil. What is this? I paid for ninjas and you give me these brats? He would have said more but he caught sight of the tiger in the room and how it seemed to accompany the blonde kid. And he may be inebriated. He was not dumb enough to piss of someone who had such animal with him regardless of size. Don't worry Tazuna-san, they're quite capable of fulfilling the mission parameters, and if anything happens I'm a Junin, assured Kakashi. TCH, fine, I'm the super bridge builder Tazuna, so you better protect me with your life. Okay team, I want you to go and get prepared for a long-term mission and be at the gate in 2 hours. The 2 hours went fast and soon the 3 genin were in the marked gate where to find something really surprising. Kakashi was on time for once. As they were about to move out 2 people called to them. They were Chidori and Anko, also Jaban was with them. Oi Hitaki, we need to ahve a word with you, said the snake mistress. Kakashi nodded and followed the 2 kunoichi and the jaguar to a secluded area. As they reached their destination Kakashi was about to ask what they wanted when he was roughly thrown to a tree, stunning him, and before he could recover he was grabbed by the collar of his vest and his unmentionables by Chidori. Not one scratch Hitaki, and I mean it, if I find just one scratch in him when you return I'll rip your balls off with my own hands. At this she turned her nails into claws and applied pressure to emphasize her point, and feed them to Jaban here. Not, 1, scratch. As she said the last part she was actually touching his nose with hers, allowing him to see her now slitted pupils. Chidori then moved to let Anko talk with him. When Kakashi returned a couple of minutes later he was pale as a sheet. Sasuke, you take point. What, why? Asked Naruto. Because I said so. Is everything alright, Kakashi-sensei? Asked Hinata. Yes, Hinata. Everything is alright, now let's go. And that is the beginning of their first C-ranked mission. Little Tehi did know how much their lives will be affected, especially Naruto's.
That's all for now. If you want to see next part, then please like this video and subscribe my channel. Thank you.